Hello and welcome to another episode of Mixed Dickinson Art. I'm Michael Dickinson, and today in this episode we are going to continue working on our bounty hunter design. And I'm really excited to get to this point because we're actually going to start refining what this guy actually looks like. So let's get into it. Okay, so I just duplicated the project in Procreate and also copied and pasted the sketch that we did last time and lowered the opacity so I could draw over top of it. And I think that's really helpful for whenever you're starting to figure out the details on the character, because you can trace what's underneath loosely, but really start refining the details. So you've got kind of an outline of where things are going to fall, a little bit of the anatomy to draw the clothes over the top of. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing right now. Really, the mask is already figured out, but I figured I would just draw because some of the nuance in this new sketch, like right there, that was, I think, just an outline of the mask underneath, but I decided to make it kind of like a pipe on the side. So little subtle things like that tend to happen whenever you draw with a broad brush and then start refining over the top of it with like a pencil or ink pen or something like that. So that's what I'm doing right now. Also, let me know if you like this this new setup as far as how I'm presenting the video. So right now the video is at about 400% speed, so it's sped up a little bit. And so I recorded that, and now I'm just doing a commentary on top of it. So let me know if you like that, and if I should continue doing it this way. And so like before, I just drew half of the mask because it's at this point there's no real purpose in having the character in a dynamic pose. We're still trying to figure out the costume or outfit or whatever you want to call it. So I duplicate and flip a lot still because he's pretty symmetrical as far as the costume design goes. I do vary it a little bit to make it a little bit more natural in some spots, like with the fabric, how it lays over the guy's arms and pants and stuff. But and like right here, I'm not going to duplicate and flip his belt. I want it to be kind of on a slant. And yeah, because things like that, like when it's not like armor or it's not I don't know, like the helmet, things that don't have to be symmetrical, I like to just draw it over the whole thing to make it more natural, like it would actually be sitting on this person's torso. So and the belt itself wouldn't be symmetrical as far as our costume design goes. It kind of looks like that in actually it does look like that in the sketch that we did underneath. Like it seems to be like two pouches or something on either side, but I decided to do something a little less symmetrical as far as it tends to get a little bit boring if the character isn't supposed to be like perfect. So this guy is supposed to be kind of like a gunslinger or like mountain type person, mountain man underneath. So he's skilled, and he knows what he's doing, but he also is a little stylish, hence the fur. So right here I also did a copy of the sketch underneath and lower the opacity, because there are certain points where you kind of want to explore certain possibilities without messing with the actual sketch. So right now I'm working on the hand or the gloves, and on the left side there's that pouch that would kind of get in the way of me exploring what the glove would actually look like. So I duplicated the sketch underneath, so I would have right there, I'm just looking at the gloves examples on our references, but so that way it's like nice and clean for me to explore what the glove would actually look like. And then I'll just move the glove over to that side, like right there, and kind of erase out underneath what the pouch would be like, because the hand is over top of it. So I tend to keep the layers to a minimum at this point, just because when you start having a ton of different layers on top of each other, it gets confusing on what's on top, what's on the bottom, and then you're trying to erase things, and you get lost in it. It kind of, I don't know, it wastes time. And at this point, it's a sketch, so feel free to be very loose with it. You're just exploring and refining at this point, so yeah, I like to keep it 1, 2, or 3 layers at the most. Sometimes I'll do a couple layers if I'm satisfied with what I have. Like at this point, I'll duplicate the layer. No, I won't. I'll just make a new layer and then continue drawing until I'm satisfied with that, and then I'll merge it down again. So yeah, as you can see, I reference the reference photos a little bit, and I wanted a Kneepad type of thing, but none of the reference photos had it, so I just kind of made it up and went with kind of like a Mandalorian type Kneepad. So yeah, reference the photos a lot. I really like how it's turning out, and so at this point I am working on the boot, kind of the same process as the glove, where I draw on a different layer and then move it back over. I didn't trace over the other sketch on that, just because I was actually referencing one of the photos for how the boot was posed, and I really liked how it was posed. So basically I was just bouncing back and forth with my eyes and tracing what that roughly looked like, and then I just made it my own. So I like the idea of having those 2 little hoof, it's like a hoof ish thing, I don't know, but I thought it was kind of cool. Another shout out to the goat. So yeah, and I kind of imagine them as like steel toes. So, and we'll probably get into that whenever we start coloring. And then I'm just finishing up some of the details. We're getting pretty close to the end here. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments below. I really would love to connect with you guys and answer any questions. I think the brush that I'm using right now is just one of the drawing pencils that comes default with Procreate. So it's actually one of the first times I've used it, and I really like how it feels. Typically I would use a pencil, like a pencil brush, but this one I like a lot because it fills out a lot more. It's easier to, it doesn't have that grain texture that the pencils have as much, but it still feels like it just feels heavier, which I like. So yeah, at this point I'm just filling out some of the more detailish things and trying to keep in mind the overall appearance, the flow of the outfit. Thanks so much for joining me in this episode. Next time we're going to start laying out the color for this character. So if you're interested in that, make sure you hit subscribe and the little bell icon thing. And if you like this video, if something was helpful to you, I would really appreciate the like. And if you want to leave a comment, find me on Instagram, connect with me. I would love that. So thanks so much again for joining, and we'll see you next time.